Welcome to Board Game Binge, the place where we bring you bite-sized, bingeable board game content from across the industry. I'm your host, James Staley, and in this episode, we're chatting with ZAZU from ZAZU Times 2 Games. ZAZU is a tabletop content creator sharing game overviews, game night experiences, conventions, and his overall take on the industry. ZAZU, welcome to the binge. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here this Monday morning.
Oh, it is awesome having you. I was just saying before we went on here, this is the first time we've met, so I'm looking
Yep.
forward to getting to know you. But man, you pop up in my feed like all the time. Like every single day
Nice.
I see your mug just pops into my Instagram doom scroll. And that's what led me to you. And I thought, God, I gotta get this guy on the podcast. I love his energy. I love his take on games, and it'd be a good chance for the audience to get to know you as well. So, first and foremost, where are you based? Are you in the States somewhere? Or where are you located?
I am. I am in the southeast of America in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh,
If you
nice.
know anything about it, you might know that we have the busiest airport in the world.
Yeah,
Slightly smaller than the largest, but it is the busiest, and it shows. I go there often, and it is true. I can confirm that it is the busiest.
I've been through that airport several times. Yeah, it is. It's massive too. Like it
Oh
is.
yeah.
I'm from Canada, and we've got the
What part of
Toronto.
Canada?
I'm in
Toronto.
Canada,
Okay.
yeah. So the Toronto airport for a Canadian is quite large, but it is
Yeah.
like a baby compared to these U.S. airports, especially the one in Atlanta. Like it is insane. But no, that's so
Yeah.
cool. And what got you into this industry? Like, how long have you been like gaming for?
Gaming. There's a high school Christian organization called Young Life.
Oh, cool.
That's when I started playing like the hobby games that we see now that I love so much. But family's been playing board games since, since we could read. We were playing games, whatever we could get our hands on. I have two sisters, and yeah, it was always games. Mostly me cheating. But yeah, we played games all the time. And then later on, a couple years ago, Mondo Davis, who I met through Young Life when I
Yep.
lived in Augusta, he got me back in. He actually came over during COVID to buy my Xbox. I've been playing way too much video games during COVID. So I was like, I need to sell this, put it on Facebook Marketplace. He comes over and we were just mutual, like we hadn't seen each other in literally a decade. He looks over through the door and like, oh, it's a lot of games. You play board games? I'm like, obviously. He goes, oh, me too. And that was it. And then he invited me over for games and he showed me his large following of game folks and said, "You should do this. You have more charisma than I do." And I was just
Yeah.
like, "All right, let's give it a go." And here
That's
we are.
crazy. The 6 degrees of separation, right? Like we've had
Yeah,
Mondo on the podcast as well.
nice.
Recently, I did see he did a post on TikTok. So he's just left the op, or he's
Yeah,
leaving the op, I guess,
January
in
will be the
January,
end.
right? So
Yeah,
he is on the hunt looking for his next venture. So anyone listening, if you've got an opportunity in the industry, definitely a super cool guy, very insightful,
for
and
sure.
he's a good guy to reach out to. So Mondo Davis, I hope he keeps creating content though, because
Oh, he will. It's in his
yeah,
blood. Him and the wife and the kids. They're
yeah.
they're all just a bucket of creative people living under a roof that just so happen to be family.
Oh, that's amazing. So then how so you've okay, so you've obviously been gaming for quite some time. I imagine the game of life is probably in there somewhere if you had two sisters.
Oh yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
Right? And then how did that kind of so it was Mondo that kind of convinced you to get into content creation? Is that kind of what the seed was then
Yeah.
or
So in a past life, well, I still do it sometimes, but me and Mondo are also musicians. So I've been creating content like to the point where I swore off of it because when you get to a certain point, you have
yeah.
managers that tell you what you can and can't say, and I don't know if you want to post that. I don't know if that's gonna read the way people are gonna. I'm like, I don't care what people think about what I'm saying. Like, they're listening to my music already. They know I think a little off. Um, but yeah, so I've been doing it already. And I just walked away from it. And he just pulled me back in. But I've been playing games for forever. Been making music, doing media stuff for a long time. I'm a videographer by trade.
Oh wow.
That was my first kind of trade that I started making money at a young age making videos. So
You know,
so
I always
yeah.
find like when I look at content that's been created, and if it's often it's somebody that has some kind of experience, right, either in photography or
Yeah.
videography, and there's a huge difference, right, in the quality usually you see,
Yeah,
and
the
how
little
people,
things.
yeah, how people set things up, right, and it kind of gives you that head start in terms of getting kind of the right look, right, in terms of like how
Yeah.
to frame things and so forth with the content. When you first, what year was that when like when this channel first started for you?
2022, I believe, or
2022.
yeah, I think so.
And the
There was
times two, is that because your wife is involved or?
that is my music moniker.
Okay.
Yeah, so ZAZU times two is on all of my stuff. That was when I was doing music and when I was doing art. Um, and somebody added, I forget who added it, but I was part of a collective at one point. It was the best, freest flowing time of my life. There was a bunch of musicians, couple of hip hop artists. We had a country singer, some people that did sculpting. There was some photographers, some video. It was just this, it was one of those places you wish you could have spent a couple more years in that time of life. I was graduating college and moving and all that stuff. But yeah, one of the people in that collective added the times too,
And
because
what kind of music do you play? Like what like was there a specific instrument? Do you play them all, or what's your?
I stick to the electronic things. I
Okay.
do I'm the front man, so a little bit of singing, a little bit of rapping.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
we had a jazz fusion project where I did some percussion and some vocals, and then we also had a um, alternative band as well, front man, and then I'd play guitar whenever the people that played guitar wanted to do something different. We tried to be loose and free flowing. So if you show me the right chords, I can strum them for a 5 minute song, So
So was some of this self-taught, or did you go through schooling for this, or?
I did percussion in school. Grew up in church, so sang
Yeah.
all through church. And funny thing, so mostly when it's me, it's hip hop stuff, like rapping and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to rap until I was like 13, 14. Like I was in middle school already because my mom, dad wouldn't let me. So I'd go and do interviews, and they'd be like, "Yeah, who are your influences?" I was just like, and I named like bands or choirs and stuff like that, and they were just like, "What?" You're like, "We can cut that out." I was like, "Well, those are my influences. I just so happen to do this other thing." But yeah, it was always a funny question I would get.
Oh, that's awesome. And then when did you
Yeah.
start doing like the convention circuits and things like this? Is this like around 2022? Is that when you started kind of
I,
spreading your wings into conventions, or?
the first convention I went to, believe it or not, was I went to some smaller things, but Gen Con was actually
Oh
the
wow.
the first thing I did. There were some people that scrolled across me just like you did, and Mondo made a connection for me, and they wanted me to show their game off in the Unpub section at Gen Con.
Yeah.
So they paid for my ticket, and I figured out the rest, and that was the first convention. I started
So
started out as
you were playtesting, or you're reviewing, or what were you doing with this
I
game?
was demoing. It was actually Kelp. If you've ever played Kelp
Yeah, no
by
kidding, eh?
Wonderbow Games,
Oh wow,
yeah.
yeah, they've been on the
So
podcast as well. Yeah.
awesome, yeah. So they're amazing. I was trying to be I was so happy that they let me do it. I was like, I can pick you up from the airport, like do this, that, and they're just like, no, no, no. I was like, okay, well, wherever you need, let me know. I'm just hanging out because Mondo actually, so he was supposed to be rooming with me. He got a offer to do a TV show on the floor,
Yeah.
which was in Ireland. So I land thinking I'm about to meet him at the airport and go to this Airbnb. And he's like, hey, like, can't talk about a lot, NDA kind of stuff, but I'm not going to be there. I'll tell you about it later. And here I am
So
at
that
Gen
was
Con
filmed in
solo.
Ireland. I thought that was in the States they filmed, because that was like
The
Rob
first,
Lowe,
well,
right?
remember they were on strike. So the first,
Ah,
so
yeah.
everybody films over there now. Like Hollywood's dying. There's a bunch of stuff in Atlanta, even more stuff overseas. Like everybody's just like, oh, we can give credits and people will
Yeah.
come here
A lot of stuff
instead.
filmed in
So
Canada too. Yeah, it's
yeah, a lot of Canada stuff.
that's crazy. I had no idea. Yeah, I caught that episode too. Man, that would be intimidating. There's been a few. It's the it was the board game crew. No, sorry, board game rundown group. Those guys
Okay.
were on like Jeopardy. They were
Nice.
it's crazy. You're hearing the people in the industry that are like part of these other kind of adjacent media streams, right? It's
Yeah.
so cool, and everyone's high fiving each other. That's what I love about it, right? Is the
It's the
encouragement from one
best.
person to the other to say, hey, you know what? I think I think you can. You should investigate this. So, in terms of the two channels you set up Instagram, you set up TikTok. Did you find one easier than the other, or was it like which one came first?
They're all I mean, doing videography. They're all this. Everything's the same. Like I'm an engineer, but that's how I make my money. So I break everything down. So all the video editing software, all the podcast software, all the platforms, they're all the same, like they
Yeah,
have different aesthetics. Like this button does this, the next person copies it later. So they're all TikTok was just what Mondo was using, so that was where I went first. And then someone's just like, I don't use TikTok, I only use Instagram. I was like, all right, it's not hard to port them over.
yeah. And then are you in YouTube Shorts as well?
Now I do not do the YouTube Shorts. I have a marketing buddy, and he it's what he does. So he like has the whole breakdown, and you
Yeah,
don't use YouTube until you have exactly at your avatar what you're trying to do, because they are the only platform that penalizes you for change and then like fluctuation. So you kind of once you get it, you gotta just keep going consistently, or
really.
you'll be
Wow.
punished more than yeah. There's like bins that it like by this date, you need this date, and then they'll keep pushing you if you do that. So me and the wife actually, I want to do something with her when I move over to YouTube, and so far she has not found the time for me. We'll play, but when it comes to film, she's like a perfectionist,
Yeah,
but she's like the that perfectionist that wants things to be so perfect they don't ever start it kind of thing.
yeah. But is she like? So I've seen in some of the clips, like on I think it was on Instagram. I saw at some of the conventions. So she is involved a little bit with you then
Yeah,
in the industry, right? Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Does she give advice on kind of how you should?
Oh man, are you married?
Yeah,
Well, you know all the advice you could ever want if you whether you want it or don't.
it's
I
free.
I get it. Yeah, yeah.
And then so these conventions, this has evolved now over time for you. And I get this with a lot of content creators I talk to is, they start off with their initial kind of hook. However, they get in more out of interest and so forth. You get an opportunity like you've had with the Unpub room where you're doing demos, and then you start seeing, or you start being seen, right?
Yeah.
And then you start having publishers saying, "Hey, I saw you
Yeah.
did this over here, and I got this game. Do you want to?" So where did that kind of take off for you? Was there a lot of pressure from companies approaching you saying, "Hey, can you do some game reviews?" Was there more kind of, "Hey, you've done some amazing demos. Can we pull you in over here?" How did that kind of evolve for you, and kind of where did it take you?
What I know what I have as a brand. I've been I won't say exploited, but I've been I maximized what I have. The first thing I ever like sold and went around doing was camping equipment. So I was doing the music thing.
Hmm.
I was in college. I had two buddies that were world-class boulderers, and one of the people that gave them gear saw me, like, oh, there's no black people doing this at all. Like, if we send you free stuff, will you like? And I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, getting $1,000 jackets and tents and
Wow.
whatever
Yeah.
stuff. So I was like, okay, I have an angle here. So diversity just looks good. Like when someone sees someone that looks like them doing something, they
Yeah,
look a
for
little
sure.
closer, right? And I'm doing these things anyway, so let's spread the good word and get compensated on the way there. So that was in the back of my mind the whole time. But kind of like you said, like people just see you doing stuff, and this our industry is split down the middle. There's some people that you could sit with them for an hour and they won't say a word except for it's your turn. And there's
Yeah.
other people you'll sit down and play a game and you have the best conversation you ever had in your life. So being on the conversational side, people see that and they're just like, oh yeah, can you talk about this? So I get people asking all the time to work booths, and I just don't like sitting in a booth for a couple hours a day. I'll do it, especially if it's a friend. I'll donate some time.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just like running around doing stuff and having a good time. And people, once you meet me, you're just like, oh, this guy's kind of fun. Like, hey, can
Yeah.
you wear this shirt for me? And that's enough to move some kind of needle. So I've been able to do stuff like that, and I just keep it organic and try to help people if I can. Especially if I met a smaller publisher, and they were at this booth, had all this merchandise. Obviously, they had bought it themselves or made some of it, and I just sung his praise. He had a great game, you know. And after talking to him for 5 minutes, I was like, no one's gonna see this game. Uh, he's in the corner spot. Like the artworks could use some work. All those
Yeah.
things. So I was just like, hey, have you played this? Every time someone asked me, intentionally, so maybe I found a better game, but it was like, oh, this is the favorite. This was the best game I've seen. Like,
Yeah.
for multiple reasons. But I try to do that, you know, because that's what I would want people to do for me, and it's a great game. But yeah. So what in the effort of serving people as best I can, it just opens up doors of opportunities for
That's
me and the people I'm helping.
when you said like the industries or even just players that kind of split down the center, like I can totally relate to that. I'm one of these people when I'm at game night, I see it as a social event,
Yeah.
right? So I go to socialize. If I win or lose, I could care less. And the number
Yeah.
of times when I have won games, usually I find out at the end, oh, by the way, you won. Like I'm not trying to track that. I'm trying to make sure I'm not holding anybody up. But really, I just want to have conversations, and I like to
Yeah.
socialize. I'm there to chat with people, and these are friends, right? But the games where you have the people with the heads down, and it's like no words, like
Yeah.
that is my vision of hell, right? Like that is not something I look forward to at all. And I've got a couple buddies that like heavier and either medium weight or heavier games. Medium weight I'm okay, but the heavier games where it's like 2-3 hours, I'll say sorry guys, I'm out. I'm gonna go to this other table that's playing like Love Letter. Like
Yeah.
I need to go and socialize. I can't just put my head down for 3 hours. Like I did that when I was younger, but now it's kind of for me, gaming has evolved, right? And it's really become more about the social aspect and the meeting people and making
Yeah.
friends. And quite frankly, as a publisher and a game designer, I find as well that the more variety I can play, the more helps inform me in terms of my own
Yeah.
design and how to kind of take things forward. A perfect example is I'm working on a social deduction game right now, and had some friends try it, and it was draft one, really really rough. Just saying, guys, this is a seed of an idea. I'm not sure there's anything here, but like, what do you think? And the piece of feedback that came across, which I could tell right away, is there wasn't this conversation going back and forth. And that's
Mm.
what's fun about social deduction games, right? Is when
Right.
there's this
Right.
kind of like, if you look at like Secret Hitler, right? When people are like, wait a second, I think you're a fascist. You got to be a fascist. And they're like, no, I didn't mean to put that card down. Like I had no choice. That kind of fun back and forth is, I think, something you need in a lot of these games, right? So it's a fun experience. When you talk about walking through conventions, and I have yet to go to Gen Con, if you can believe that. I've been to Essen, and I've been to, what's the other one? Origins in
Okay.
the States. I saw recently, I think you were at PAX. This is definitely something I think that most people in the industry, if you have passion about the hobby, you got to get to one of these conventions,
Yeah.
because it is,
Yeah.
it's a big love fest, right? So everyone's got a shared interest, and everyone's there just to share their love of board games and connection. And
Yeah.
it's about kind of just meeting people and networking as much as you can. And you'll see some of the faces that you see online, right? You're going to see ZAZU, right? If you go to a convention,
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
see the Mondo Davises of the world. Like, and it's kind of cool where you've got like this, call it like kind of the mini celebrity thing, right? Where, people, when they see somebody they've seen online and can actually have a conversation with them as a normal person, it's pretty cool, right? Like
Yeah.
this is like
It
this
is.
is
It
kind of a
is.
cool thing. So, I geek out myself when I'm in these conventions, and I'll see somebody be like, wait a second, was it like Grant with his comedy, right? And
Yeah.
and we've had him
Yeah.
on the podcast, and I remember I was at Origins, and he did it was a pretty good I think it was like a 30-minute thing he did his comedy routine, and there was a joke in there that just tickled me so much. And I messaged him afterwards. I'm like, dude, that last night, that one hook you had, that one bit was gold.
Yeah.
And he responded, right?
Yeah.
And so this is an industry where like there's this accessibility to the personality of the industry, which is really cool. Most people that have reached out to Jamie Stagmeyer have got a response back,
Yeah.
right? If you're talking to anyone from the dice tower, chances are you're probably going to get a response back. It might take a while, but someone's probably going to get back to you. So
Yeah.
it's really, really, I don't know of many other industries like that where you have that kind of flattened landscape where everyone's kind of on the same level
Yeah.
and they're all chill and they're all just wanting to kind of connect, right? Is this an experience you have as well?
100%. And it's one of how did I describe it to was trying to there's somebody, a new creator, and they're asking. I was like, dude, you don't have to worry about them like giving you the time of day. Like you're gonna be like telling them like, oh, I gotta go get to this other thing.
Yeah.
Like everybody's just that friendly. They're there to chat and have sorry about that. They're there to chat and have a good time and share their game off, and they get joy out of it. And I felt the same thing when I was doing music. Like you, some people are just obviously like stuck up, but being in the back of some of those green rooms, and we were in a green room, but still, it's just like they're talking about the same. Oh, did you hear this song? Like you're something like your buddy from high school,
Yeah.
here's this multi whatever million selling recording artist person, and they're just like geeking out over this song that they think is cool too, and like, oh, what do you like? So I just think that's people. You just gotta like give it a chance. That's why I try to be as open and whatever and approachable as I can. Because my least favorite thing about doing all this is you go home and you're looking through comments like maybe that day or maybe afterwards, and someone's just like, "Oh, I saw you." I was just like, "Well, why'd you come say hey?" Like,
Yeah.
like don't stare at me from a distance. Like I don't bite. Um, but yeah, like it's cool. Like everybody, and then you sit down and you're like, oh, I really want to meet this person. Like, not only can you meet them, you can sit down and play a board game with them
Yeah.
and bond like you do with your best friend or your brother and sister at your table at home. So it's that like that's why I love board games. You get to connect with people. I'm a Christian. Like, oh, that's my whole thing, and that is board games for me. Like it is the best medium I've found so far to connect person to person with a group of people like of all varying sizes and really just spend time break bread if you want to break bread but yeah, like there's I don't know of any other way to do that, like have fun
Yeah.
and fellowship and get to know somebody. Like, have you found a better way, like like
No, it is my uh I call it like kind of filling the cup, right?
mm,
And no matter what's happened, most people have something in their life that brings them down, right? Whether it's a
yeah,
loss of a loved one, or if it's they're going through financial difficulties, or if they've lost their job, or if they're just watching the news, which is 24/7 negative, right? And you just need
yeah,
some levity. And to me, it's kind of like I see kind of that as a cup, right? And you're almost like your soul, right? You got to kind of fill it up
yeah,
from time to time. And for me, that's what that board games is it's go to my local meetup that I've set up. And it's a weekly basis. I'm meeting with different people, and often it's open to the public, so there's new people coming in all the time.
yeah,
It's a chance to engage with people and kind of fill that cup, and that kind of sustains you, through any negatives you have in your life. You can kind of
yeah.
take that positivity, right, and that shared kind of communion you have, and use that to kind of carry it forward. So that's how I treat board games myself. Um, have you found that you've been able to take some of this like back to your church? Like, have you gone the other way and said,
Oh
hey, like
yeah,
here's some tools I
yeah.
learned from the board game industry I want to take back to that side?
Yeah, it's we set them up. So I actually just started working with youth. It's been 25 years working with youth.
Oh, nice.
Working with men now. I got God promoted me to the annoying and hard-hearted folks, men like myself. So but even that, so there's a guy I know, he was in prison, gangs, all that kind of stuff, but he's doing this whole thing now. Has a security company, but there's all these guys that come through him, and he reached out to me and was just like, "Hey, like I want to do a game night for some of these guys." I was just like, "Okay, cool. What games they're like?" And he's like, these aren't these aren't the kind of guys that play games." I was just like, I mean, they do something like they throw dice, play cards. He goes, "Well, yeah." I was like, "All right, cool. We can work with that." So we're going to be in, I don't know what venue we're going to use, but just some guys that had a hard go at life and are now trying to do things right on the other side of it. And
Oh,
we're gonna play some games. So Yeah, it spreads through. It's universal. Like half these games don't even have words on them. Like you can play
Yeah.
them without reading and writing, all that kind of stuff. You can play with people with different languages. So I'm interested in that. Like I want to stretch the boundaries of like who's touching these things. Like I love the community, but I want to grow it. Like because it's just the best way I found to connect with people, and
Yeah.
let's
Have you
do it.
thought of what games you're going to play with this group at all? Like, what have you picked any titles that you think
Um,
are going to work? Or
Vegas, we're gonna do. Was it Wandering Wombats was one? He requested one. Well, it was a word game. I was like, I don't know if they want to play that. He goes, no, they can play it. There's some
like
word game.
Quiddler or something
Just
like this? Or
just
oh,
one was
just one
something
is
he wanted to play.
fantastic. Oh,
Um, and then we had Liar's Dice.
yeah.
Because we can blow that up to as many people as we want and kind of make it get pretty wild. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, things with dice and like cards. I want to test some trick takers. I don't know which ones, but yeah, we got a couple on a list, so we're gonna see what people are into. Flip 7, we're gonna bring that. That one's
Oh, there you go.
I haven't met anybody that couldn't grasp that after a round, so we're gonna bring that and see if they like that one.
It's always good to kind of find some of these gateway. I call them gateway games. To have in the game bag like consistently. There's some I have in my bag that never come out, right? So
Yeah.
take an example like Celestia is a great example of like a
Yeah.
push your luck.
Oh, I
Very,
love
very
that. I need to
simple, right?
get that. I still don't have a copy. I
Fantastic.
need
It's
to
out
get
of
that.
print, which so it is tough to find. Sometimes you might have to settle for like a Portuguese version or something like this. But again, it's language independent components, which is
Yeah.
great, right? So as long as you can download the translated rules, you're okay.
Yeah.
Um, but having like just one is one of these examples of
Hmm.
games I have in my bag all the time. It never comes out because that's the kind of game where no matter who is at the table, whether it's a person who's been gaming for a while or the person who's just come out and the last time they played a game was Monopoly 20 years ago, and and they're just trying to get out and socialize. Um, that's something you can get to the table and get people playing, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised at how many people. It doesn't surprise me, I guess. Is often at game night what we'll find is we'll have people that come out and they'll say, this is my one night out a week where I want to play. I like board games and I like to play games, but my family doesn't like playing games. Either my husband doesn't
Hmm.
like playing games or my wife doesn't like playing games. So that's kind of their night out, right? To
Yeah.
still kind of play and not have to kind of rope the family members into force
Yeah.
them to play if they don't want to play, right? Because one of the things there's a lot of people that don't like playing games, and that's cool too. And it really sucks when there's somebody that doesn't like playing games and they're kind of forced to play. I find it kind of
Yeah.
pulls the whole vibe down, right? So it's good. It acts as an escape for people, which I think is important.
Yeah.
So we're like you've got your two channels. So what's the plan from here? Like, have you given any thought to kind of the overall vision for ZAZU times two? Like, where do you kind of want to see this going from here? Like, have you kind of mapped out
Long
where your plan is?
the pie in the sky, not even pie in the sky, the long term goal, 'cause I can get there. I'm capable of accomplishing thing, is a huge convention here in Atlanta. We got the space. I know a bunch of people. There's a couple smaller conventions already,
Oh,
so
you'd like to
that's
create a
long
convention?
term.
You're saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, that'd be
And
cool.
I don't have to be the creator of anything. As long as I can like pull the pieces together and help out where I can, I'm good with that. But yeah, huge, 40,000 person, whatever. They're happening every other week in Atlanta anyway. So that would be one at the end of the road. Shorter term, the thing I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago with the group with the guys,
Yeah.
just being able to do that, kind of like a concierge, like game night hosting, like you do your thing. We'll show up with some games. We'll teach. We'll score it if you want us to. Maybe partner with a restaurant and bring in some food, whatever it is. An event of it. Like I just got back from Florida for a team meeting, and we spent quite a bit of money going to Top Golf. And maybe three of the people out of the 12 or 15 people there golfed. Like we could have spent way less money, stayed somewhere nice, played some games, and I think had a better time, had more conversation.
Yeah.
So something to address that. And what else? Oh, I do want to, sorry, the meetings are starting. I do want to do, just more hosting. So with Gen Con, I do host the media with Gen Con. my local convention, Dragon Con, they saw me at Gen Con. We're just like, hey, you live in Atlanta. Would you do Dragon Con? I was just like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So kind of just partnering with the people, people and places I'm working with, just make it more of a relationship than a one-time transaction, because that just
Yeah.
makes everything run smoother. It helps planning, helps financially and all that. So
I
yeah, I
noticed
think,
you do like some game overviews. You'll kind of like give a loose overview of game. Any
yeah.
plan ever to get into like reviews and things like that, or is that kind of content you want to leave to the other guys and be more
Yeah,
of
I
like,
like overviews. The plan for so YouTube would encompass that, but it wouldn't be my opinion. I think
yeah,
one man's opinion is doesn't hold a lot of weight, unless that man is your husband. It's just like, oh, it's just somebody's voice in the wind. But I have an idea of having a group, a table, and there's a whole little shtick behind it. You'll see it on YouTube when Rochelle, my wife, wants to hop in and help. But yeah, there's at least 2 days a week. There's 6 or less people, sometimes more at this table I'm sitting at right now, that gathered around playing games. So we could utilize that, but we have not yet. So yeah, once we decide and flip that switch, we will get into reviewing, but it'll be a group of people, and
yeah,
from different. I like the person that's never played a game. I want to hear their opinion more than I want to hear Tom Vassel's opinion. I already know.
that's a good
So I
point.
so I know Tom. So I always tell him, I was like, dude, like what? This is what I was like, why do you review games that you're not gonna like? He goes, well, I don't know if I'm gonna like them until I play. I was like, but I know you're not gonna like them before you play them. Like, so you
Yeah,
should definitely know.
the challenge when you're that far down the rabbit hole, and you've played as many games as he has, and I mean you see his library is staggering.
Yeah.
It almost takes you to a place where who are you reviewing this for?
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to have your followers of Dice Tower, and no disrespect to Tom. I mean, he's created something very
Oh, he's
impressive,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
we had a great episode. He did our 300th episode. But for the layman out there, or the casual gamer, I'm not sure there's the connective tissue there between his review of something, what might be good or bad, versus what they may actually enjoy, because he's got the whole history of every game he's ever played, adding context to that review. Or someone who's doesn't have that history and they're just playing that game, and they're like, oh, well, that was a fun game. They don't realize, okay, maybe this has been done better by 3 other games. They've never had access to those other 3 other games. They just played that one game and they happen to like it. So that's the only grain of salt I give people that are clearly, there's the people that are like Tom that have played a lot of games and they get a lot of value out of those reviews. But for casual gamers, I think sometimes that can take you further down the rabbit hole than you need to go.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes good just to keep it light. For those who want to check out your content, I am going to put a link in the show notes. I encourage people to check out your channels and follow you, quite frankly. So don't just check out ZAZU's channel, but actually give him a follow. and ZAZU, I can't wait to meet you in person at the next convention that hopefully we're at.
Where will you be this year?
This year, nowhere. We're keeping our travel light this year. Potentially next year, we've given some thought maybe to Gen Con and potentially back to Essen again. We did Essen 2 years ago, which was phenomenal, and I'd like to get back there again. But again, it's how the different games line up that we're launching. But for sure, we'll try to get out to one of these in the coming year.
Awesome. Definitely let me know. Love to meet you in person.
Thanks. Good to meet you, my friend, and can't wait to see where you go from here.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good one.
Cheers. This has been an episode of the Board Game Binge podcast, hosted by James Staley, produced by James Staley and Mike Bruner, with original music by Nick Smith. If you would like to watch these interviews live, simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, Board Game Binge, and you'll get access to live interviews, giveaways, and interesting board game content from across the industry. I can't wait for you to join us. See you next time.